Hi, everyone. I'm Summer.
I'm Carrie.
And this is Publicia Podcast.
I'm nervous.
Oh, don't be nervous. It'll be fun. Fuck. Oh my gosh. What the hell just happened? What the hell? What is happening? Make sure you come back. We're going to do this bi-weekly. So make sure you come back to talk to us more about, sex, drugs, and self-improvement.
Well, I am in my van today. I'm sorry. I literally just parked at my house. So I apologize that you have to look at the ugly van. But this is my life, and I overscheduled, which I think fits in pretty well with what we were going to talk about, which is taking care of ourselves and prioritizing rest. Yeah, because I don't know if you, Carrie, you're in that conversation. I don't know if you could tell I got a little annoyed. The conversation about it started with a question of, do you ever want to take a break from adulting?
Yeah.
And I'm like, what do you mean? Like a vacation? Like take a break? Like, what do you mean?
Yeah, I had to restrain myself from saying that you can't do that. Like,
right, like you have to take. But I feel like that thought though is common anymore. Like people refer to adulting as all the negative things about being a responsible adult.
but all the good things are adulting too, because
right,
like.
Right. All of those good things are also adulting. And part of being a responsible adult is taking time to rest and taking care of yourself, because you can't take care of everybody else if you don't rest too. I was having this conversation with somebody who's the parent of a child who has developed a degenerative condition that they still haven't pinpointed just yet, but I was encouraging her to, in addition to the child going to therapy, like, maybe you should sit down and talk to them too, and help process some of your emotions, because that's a lot. Caretaker burnout is a thing, and also take time to rest. Like you can't meet their needs if you pass out from exhaustion. Like you literally can't. And what she told me was, I don't see much point in taking care of myself when I see, when my child is disappearing in front of me. And I'm like, well, you literally can't take care of them if you don't.
Like you're not offering them like the best quality of care that you could be at the time, and it really sucks to say, but like as a caretaker, as a person in a caretaker role, like what are you gonna do when you don't have somebody to caretake for? Then you're just left with now the bad emotions and negative experiences and all of that without any coping skills or anybody to talk to, really, because they don't understand like what's going on while you were doing it. It's better to like already and them understand like what's happening and what happened that way.
And honestly, I find it helpful just to have an objective person to, because when you're a parent or a caretaker, there's a lot of decisions, a lot of very important decisions that have to be made. And it's hard to separate yourself emotionally to make the best decisions you can. And having somebody that can help you, walk you through that, can help you in that decision-making process. And that can help you, not, because sometimes you're choosing, or at least that's what it feels like right now with me, with my daughter, is it feels like trying to choose the least worst of all the bad options. And So having that objective third party to kind of help you with that seems to help me to not second guess myself as much.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I think there's a lot to be said for that because you're already dealing with a high level of stress. You don't need the extra on top of that.
Yeah.
And the therapist I met with the other day, she's very direct, which I respond best to. I don't like the dancing around stuff. And so she just directly asked me, like, so how are you going to process this? You know, are you going to, you know, blame yourself and be upset by this? Are you going to find a silver lining? I'm like, well, I'm somewhere in between right now. That's where I'm at. And she's like, good, that's where I want you. But because neither extreme is helpful.
Yeah. There's like a clipping when you talk.
Clip.
Like it sounds like the phone has like something rustling under it.
I bet it's my earring.
Oh.
Does that fix it?
Yes.
Sorry.
No,
It's the bone earrings. They're heavy and so they clip. Sorry. I just came from a photo shoot and I was wearing these for that.
You're fine. I don't know what that is, but it's not.
I forgot because I have worn these before when we recorded,
Mm-hmm.
and it drove me nuts as I was watching and listening to edit. I was like, "Fuck! You can hear my earring constantly against the mic," and then I forgot. So, no earrings today. Naked ears now.
I have my ghost face bloody earring.
Nice. Very cute. What are is that your self-care for today?
Hanging out with my roommate and going to Craig's to look at crystals in their new part of the shop, and I found a what is it called when they have like they put like bugs or animals in boxes?
Okay.
Like they're little like, square.
Right. I don't know what the word for that would be. I know what you're talking about.
But I found one of those, and I found two of those. I found one that was a little bat that I wanted really bad. And then I found one that details like the life cycle of a honeybee. And it had all the little stages of them, and I wanted it so bad. And then we walked.
Very nice.
That was my self-care today.
I found a candle holder at a vintage mall. But what I bought this for is, look, it's got the space for a taper for a smaller column and then for the bigger ones. So I can use it for all the different sizes of candles, depending on, you know, what spell I'm working at the moment.
It kind of looks like the like knobs. It looks like they sawed the top off of it.
It kind of does a little bit, right?
I like it. It looks really pretty, like the color of the wood.
Yeah, the bottom of it says, the sticker says that it's solid walnut. So anybody knows anything about wood? I know that walnut trees exist and I couldn't identify it at all by just looking at the wood. So good to know.
Well, we went to a bookstore and I got a new book. I left it downstairs, but it's called like Cackle or something. I think it's Cackle. And it's about like witches. It's like it details like the life cycle of witches through like the maiden, the mother, and the crone, and like fulfillment, like through themselves because of self-fulfillment. But so I'm gonna start reading that.
Nice. Let me know how it is.
I also
You cut out. You also what?
I said I also finished another book on Audible called The Book of Boundaries. And it's so good.
And what did we learn about boundaries?
That you have to have them for your mental health.
Yes.
Bad thing.
Dr. Faith also has an Unfuck Your Boundaries that you can also get on Audible, by the way.
I think I
That's
have. I really like the one that I just finished. It's by Melissa Urban, and she's a
look
coach
for
for
it.
Whole30, which I also really like. But for her book, she gives like different levels of how you say it. She has like green, yellow, red boundary settings. So like green is like when you're like initially setting it and kind of like setting the groundwork, and then yellow like if they start trying to like push back, and red is like, this is my firm boundary, and if you can't respect it, I'm out. Like, I'm not dealing with it. You can either accept it or leave. And so I really like that because it's easy for
It's
my
good.
to progress through those kind of things like that. So I really like it.
I think examples are really helpful because those of us who weren't raised with healthy boundaries didn't have that modeling happening. And so we're just like, okay, I know I need boundaries, but how do we do this?
Has like a whole chapter devoted to setting boundaries with your family. Like if you were raised with no boundaries, she has a whole chapter dedicated to that.
Why do you need a whole chapter when all you need to say is move and leave no forwarding address?
Well, some people,
I kid.
you know,
Although in some situations it is the best option.
that is true. That is she has like a whole chapter, and she was like, I could have just wrote a whole book on just setting boundaries with your family, you know.
Absolutely. Maybe that's what she needs to do next.
That would be great, because she also puts in like people would write in on like her Instagram and say like, I'm having problems with this, or I can't seem to like set a boundary for this thing, and she would give them scripts for like her
Nice.
red boundaries, and then she like does that throughout the book for different things and talks about how it worked out for different people. So I really liked that book a lot. If you can tell.
That's good. I set a boundary last night and I think I upset someone.
It happens.
But that's okay. I don't care.
Boundaries are for you.
The same person who I've told the story about trying to save me was trying to get me to drink last night after I said no, I wasn't having any alcohol because I've been having more inflammation, and so with my autoimmune, like when I start getting that way, I get really intolerant to alcohol, and it'll make me like hypertensive and a lot more pain. And so I just don't drink at those times. And I told him no, and he kept trying to push. I'm like, what the fuck is this, high school? And I told him, I said, you are a grown man. You can drink without everybody else in the room having to drink too.
Yeah.
Just go have a seat and do your thing.
Yeah. I've had to set that boundary too. And it's like, I just don't really enjoy drinking that much. I only have like one glass of something, maybe like every couple of months. And people find that so weird. Like, I don't
know why that's weird. That seems pretty typical of most people that I know.
listen.
Is, just occasional and not much, and
it's not fun.
Moderation.
Like, why would I want to do something that's not fun for me and doesn't serve me any purpose?
Okay, so see, I had this conversation the other day about beer, okay, because I hate beer. I've never found a beer that I like. I have ultimately come to the conclusion that it's the hops, and I just really, really hate the taste of hops. But I have tried every type of beer there is. Corey, when she moved to Europe and, tasted all these different types, she was convinced she could find one that I liked. So she would send us some, she would bring some, and I'm like, never found any I like. And so I don't even remember who it was I was having this conversation with, but they're like, it's an acquired taste. You just have to keep drinking. I'm like, but if I'm not enjoying it, why do I want to keep doing it to acquire the taste? Like, where's the upside?
That's like the people that push like whiskey and scotch and all that shit because they think you shouldn't like Smirnoff and like fruity drinks.
I love me some fruity drinks.
Bro, the fruity drinks are bomb. They taste good and they don't
The
make
the primary way I get fruit in my diet is through frozen margaritas.
I definitely had a sangria with Olive Garden to themselves.
Oh, really?
You fine dining. But I had a berry. That's how I food intake.
Although, now that you mention it, wine snobbery is a thing. I do remember when I was still in the legal field, that was the thing, right? If you went to law firm events, it was always you had the fancy wine and you had to drink wine, because if you didn't take a drink, if you told them you didn't want to drink, then they would like assume you're an alcoholic that's like not drinking at all. But I'm like, no, wine just tastes terrible.
Yeah.
So I would take a glass of white wine, because I tend to spill shit on myself. And I didn't want to stain my clothes. So I'd take white wine and just take a couple sips out of it so you can see someone's gone, but it tastes horrible. And then I carry that around all night. So nobody tries to get you another drink if you still have one in your hand.
True. I went to a wedding a few years ago, like pre-COVID, and they like made you get these like nasty like drinks that the groom and the bride had picked out. Like that's what everybody was drinking. They didn't else for like water. And one of the drinks looked pretty close to water. Like it was mostly like clear. I don't remember. I think it was like a gin and tonic or something.
Oh, that's horrific. I can't drink that.
I hate gin. So I've done it with water and nobody asked anything. So that's what I do.
That works. Usually, and if there's an open bar, they almost always have like Sprite, right? Because they use that, because that's in a lot of drink recipes. So I'll just get like Sprite. Or if I'm drinking that night, it might be like Sprite and vodka. But that way it's clear liquid and nobody knows what's in it and they can mind their own business.
They smell Sprite and they're like, oh, it's just a mixed drink. Yes. Yes, it is. You don't need to know what it's mixed with.
Yes, I am still my backwoods cheap self. Just a little bit of cheap vodka. I do not need expensive scotch. Is not my thing.
I like whiskey. I also like cheap whiskey.
Right. So whiskey's not bad. I do like Jameson, but it's a little on the expensive side for me. I know there's people who are going to listen to this and be like, "What?" I'm a cheap bitch, okay?
I like Crown, but it's delicious with some crisp Coke. I don't even like Coke, but
that is the only legitimate purpose for Coke, honestly.
I agree. I also found recipes where they mix Crown with like sweet tea.
I can't do sweet tea though. That's my own trauma. But
people mix it with unsweet tea too, but I am not an unsweet tea person.
I can't do tea. I don't do tea. Or I do like hot herbal teas, but just like cold black tea, I can't do that. But that's my own trauma history. There's no.
Speaking of tea, I also found this like mushroom tea, not psychedelic mushrooms, plain regular mushrooms.
I mean, we could make arrangements for the other, but that's another issue altogether.
They lobby for big farm companies to use like psychedelics and like do more research for it because they think there's a lot of health benefits for it. I'm sure there are. I've just never looked into it. I've never tried it because I'm scared. That's
same. Same. Like there's a lot of them that grow around here. Like they're not hard to find.
Yeah.
I once opened a refrigerator and the entire refrigerator was full of them. So there's a lot of them around. But yeah, I'm afraid because one of my triggers is feeling like it doesn't even have to be actually out of control, but feeling like I'm not in control is triggering for me. And so I'm afraid that I might get triggered and then like, what the fuck are you going to do? You have to wait on it to wear off.
Yeah. Not like go to sleep either because you're tripping balls. Like,
right.
It just, weird. But the tea I found has like 7 different kinds of like regular mushrooms in it, and like cinnamon and something. I don't remember, but it's so good. It's very.
Is it?
Mm-hmm. It has like 1/7 of the caffeine of like coffee, like a cup of coffee, but it feels so much better. Like a
What does it taste like?
It tastes kind of like chai, like a
Hmm.
spicy.
When I was a kid, the old women around here used to pick wild mushrooms and make tea.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't for the life of me remember what it tasted like.
It tastes like the one that they have. It tastes like chai. Like it's like a spicy.
Hmm.
Like it has cinnamon in it too, but it's like the combination of everything is like spicy chai, and I like it. I like it.
Hmm. It seems like I remember liking it. I should try it sometime.
It's really
I
good.
have the recipe around here somewhere.
I like to drink it like in the morning, and I feel like pretty alert for most of the day. And it's called mud water, which is hilarious to me because it does kind of look like mud water, and like
Hmm.
cacao, whatever in it. And so when
Oh, it
like,
does. Okay.
when you mix it, like at the end, like when you're done drinking it or whatever, you can still see like the sediment at the bottom. And they were like, just pour in some more hot water and have a second cup. I was like, that's fair. So, and it tastes more chocolatey that time around. So, I mix it with honey for the sweetness. It's so good. 10 out of 10 recommend for self-care morning time.
I was going to say, so now you know, guys, don't forget your herbal teas can be self-care.
Mushroom water.
And I mean, honestly, herbal teas can be medicinal too.
Yeah.
I can't go into that too deeply because we would be here all night because there is a lot. But seriously, Google some of that. It's really interesting.
I like sleepy time tea with like the chamomile grass and all of it.
Okay, so there's one thing that a lot of people don't think about is that teas, so the herbs that you buy for like bath preparation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is the same herbs that are in your tea. So if you don't have bath stuff, but you're hurting or you've got swelling or something that you need, and you've got those tea bags, put them in the bathtub. It helps.
There's a YouTuber that I watch. Her name is Sophia Nygaard. Pre-pandemic, she did a video where she went to Japan and went to one of their onsens, a bathhouse, and they have
Mm-hmm.
tea baths.
Mm-hmm.
And like the hot springs, and they have one that's like green tea, and they had one that was some kind of blend of like other herbs. And she was like raved about it. She was like, I feel so refreshed, and my skin feels nice, and I feel great, and I feel relaxed.
Yep. It's good. I think people have gotten so used to going to the store and buying things that they just buy things for what's on the, what it's labeled, the use it's labeled for, and don't think about the fact that, it's really the same. You can use it for many applications, Somehow in the last couple generations, we've lost that,
I think a lot of it is like you said, I think it's like a lot of like the prepackaged stuff. Like nobody knows how to do anything from scratch anymore, really. And I think when COVID hit, that's why everybody had so much fun making bread.
Because they finally realized they could make their own bread.
People don't usually have like pantry like staples unless like they have like kids, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Figure out how to like you use everything for whatever. But like me as a single person, I never really had a bunch of like pantry staples. I always had like prepackaged stuff because I didn't want to take the time to like cook and like make things. Like what I ever really had was like rice and beans, and I have now like all the pantry staples because I've been cooking for myself and eating like whole foods more.
Mm-hmm.
So I am trying to force myself to see cooking and doing that as self-care also.
Well, even if you don't feel like the cooking part is, remember that eating better, nourishing your body in a healthier way is self-care.
That's
And reducing the processed food, because some of that stuff is not actually food, I'm telling you. Food adjacent.
I was talking to one of my friends yesterday, and she was talking, like, we both worked at a center for like autistic children, and one of his parents would buy him like 2 full meals at McDonald's every day just for the center, and he would eat them in like 30 minutes. And like, I know like a part of autism is like having a routine, and like you stick to your routine, you love your routine because it's familiar and comfortable, and that is a huge part of it. But his doctor told his parents that he can no longer have McDonald's because it's messing with his body and like his medications and stuff. And he's been losing it. Like behaviors. He had 300 aggressions in like an hour.
Wow.
Can't have McDonald's. And I was like, people are legitimately like addicted to it. Like it is hard to let go of like the processed food because it has like so much sugar in it and other.
Well, and I think that something like that is complicated, right? Because it's not technically an addiction. So we think we should be able to just lay it down. But
there's people that
food acts on the reward center of our brain. Like it gives us that reward, that rewarding feeling. And then especially if it's food we have some sort of good emotional attachment to, like there's certain foods I find, or drinks that I find nostalgic or, whatever, some things that make us feel good, our comfort foods, that makes it even more complicated to let go of.
Like in my household, like we use like baked goods and sweets and stuff as like a treat for the end of the day, as like quote unquote self-care. For like if our day was bad, we could have like a treat for ourselves to make ourselves, or if we have a good day, we use it as a reward for having a good day. And so now my brain.
Right. I know my grandmother was, and she would tell you if you were upset or you had it was always baking. Cookies were her favorite, but there was always some sort of sweet. And she's like, because it helps you feel better. And I'm like, thanks for that unhealthy relationship with food. I appreciate it so much.
Same.
And then her son, my uncle, he loved chocolate. He loves chocolate as much as I do. And so he taught me very early, one more won't hurt. I remember he gave me like 15 pieces of fudge. My mother told me I could have one. Like throughout the day, he gave me like 15 pieces. And every time he gave it to me, it was like, one more won't hurt. To this day, I still hear his voice in my head when I can't stop eating the fucking M&Ms, and this is, or I love Oreos and I really like the Oreos with the chocolate cream. I seriously, like, I will leave them in the car and lock them out there because if they are in the house, I'm going to, one more won't hurt until the whole thing is gone.
Same. We went to Olive Garden and gave us Andes mints and they gave us like a handful. I've eaten so many.
I love those.
They're so good.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. And if you want to make sure you don't miss any of the uploads, be sure to turn on those notifications so you will know as soon as those go up. Also, like us on social media at Hypoxia Podcast, or the easiest way is to go to our website, hypoxia.com. That's HOPOKSIA.com. And the links to all the socials and all the podcast feeds are right there. And we just want to thank you all for sharing your time with us, hanging out with us, and we hope to spend more time with you in the future.